With an iconic body of work that features films like Andaz, Sholay, Shan, and Sita or Geeta, he has truly exemplified his passion for perfection. In this upcoming session, titled Passion for Perfection, Ramesh Sippy's Philosophy, Mr. Sippy will delve into the intricacies of filmmaking methodology in conversation with the CEO of Media and Entertainment Skills Council, Mr. Mohit Soni.
Why they remember or think कितने आदमी थे.
लेकिन आज मैं तुमको कुछ ऐसी चीजें दिखाऊंगा, कुछ ऐसी बातें बताऊंगा जो आज तक तुमने न देखी होंगी और न सुनी.
I need to narrate an incident.
एक बात जो कहनी थी वो तो कही नहीं. आप बहुत अच्छा गाते हैं.
Big question mark. What next? Try to make films that keep people engrossed.
Please welcome, with a big round of applause, the CEO of Media and Entertainment Skills Council and our moderator for this session, Mr. Mohit Soni. And now, an influential filmmaker, producer, and actor, a Padma Shri awardee, and a recipient of the Filmfare Lifetime Achievement Award. Please give it up for Mr. Ramesh Sippy. May I now request Srimati Vrinda Manohar Desai, Joint Secretary Films, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, to please join us on stage to felicitate our guests. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us with the felicitation. And now, over to Mr. Mohit Soni with a gracious request to commence the conversation.
Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon. So I think before we start this conversation and learn from the wisdom of our Honorable Ramesh ji, I think we should give a big hand of applause for the Padma Shri, the maker of the Indian cinema, Mr. Ramesh Sippy. Sir, it's always an honor to learn from your wisdom and be around with you. The positive aura you bring in actually mesmerizes everyone. And I think today it'll be great, place for everyone, including me and everyone present here, to learn from your experience and understand the exact meaning of the word perfection. So, with your permission, sir, can I start firing some questions?
Fire away.
Thank you. So, we all know Ramesh ji as the man behind creating this Indian cinema, which we really love and fall for. But I go back some years back from now and remember a movie called Shahenshah.
That's right.
How many of us know Ramesh ji was in Shahenshah?
Anybody?
So Ramesh ji, your debut as an actor in
That's
Shahenshah.
right.
Would like to know about it before we go into the real life of production and direction.
Actually, I spoke only 2 words. Ammi, Ammi, and I ran towards my mother and embraced her. That was my shot as the little prince.
And I don't know how many of you would know about it, but that was at the age of 9 years, sir?
I think probably younger. Uh, 50, 51.
51?
51 was Saza, sorry, 53.
53.
You're right.
Yeah, 9 years.
9.
And 7 years you were on the set when you were 7 years of age.
That's right.
Amazing. Can we have a round of applause for somebody who has been on the set at the age of 7 years, guys?
Yes, I walked on the sets of Saza, Devanand and Nalini James, I think, Nimmi. And
Yes, yes, absolutely correct. So, sir, from a movie, Andas, to Sita and Geeta,
Ji.
and to something which we all are wow about, Sholay, how has been the journey, and what do you see as your own learning in creation of these three movies together?
That there is no end to learning. You keep learning. Because at least when I was making those films, I know that we had a fine script to work with, to start with. We put in a lot of effort, everyone, from actors to writers to all the technicians on the sets and workers. But every time I had a feeling that we could do this better than what we have even thought about. I would not hesitate to say, let's do it. Let's do it this way. I know it'll take longer. It'll need something else. Sometimes you needed a propeller fan. I remember now, let's say, take an example because people will remember it as when Mr. Sanjeev Kumar comes home and his family has been slaughtered by Gabbar. All the bodies are covered. We started shooting, and after 2 or 3 days of shooting, we had from sun it went into a very cloudy weather. So how could we shoot? We had already shot for 2.5 days. But so we waited. We waited a day, we waited a second day. At the end of that second day, I thought, suddenly felt that this atmosphere of gloom and darkness seems to be perfect for this scene because it foretells doom. Something is coming, a storm is brewing. So suddenly the whole complexion of the scene changed in my mind. And I called the cameraman, Mr. Devecha, and asked him, how would it be if we shot this scene in this kind of a gloomy weather? He looked up, he looked around and said, yes, it'll look beautiful. Then he looked at me and he said, ये तो ठीक है, लेकिन फिर जब धूप निकल आएगी कल तो क्या करेंगे? नहीं, मैंने कहा देवेचा साहब अब तो ऐसा देखा है तो ऐसा ही करना है. So we started shooting, and right enough after 2 days the sun came out. So we had a hell of a time trying to maintain that continuity. But I personally feel it was worth it all because it took although it took 23 days to shoot that sequence, I remember that it was that atmosphere that added a lot to the emotions of that scene. And finally, when he sits on that horse to go and confront Gabbar, he had everything with him, all his emotions we could feel, but the atmosphere also was there, and the wind started picking up. So I think cinema is something that is quite endless. It is the imagination, your imagination that is limited. If you let your imagination go, yes, you have to control the budgets, that's true, but in Sholay, I did not. I did not think of what a budget meant. I just went on because I felt this was important. It gave the film the right kind of atmosphere, and we carried on with it. So that sense, when one says sense of perfection or the passion for perfection was there always, even from my first film. But by the time I was into the making of Sholay, it had reached that point where I would not give up because of that. The lighting of the lamp, for instance, the scene between Amitabh and Jaya, these two were there's a silent love between them because she's a widower, she's a widow, and he's the quiet man with the mouth organ. So this sequence suddenly felt right just at that time when day turns into night. And when I spoke to the cameraman, he said we can only shoot this at that magic hour, which gave us exactly 2 minutes shoot. So we would shoot some other sequence in the morning till lunch. Then after lunch, we would start setting up for this kind of a shot, because every shot, we could not on the sets change the position of the lights or camera. So all that was rehearsed and ready, and the moment the magic hour felt that it was there, we took that shot. But that takes a lot from inside you, and my father, who was the producer, never said a single word. What is this son of mine doing there, taking 23 days to shoot one sequence? He's gone mad or something. Never said one word to me. It was his determination also. Let him make this film the way he wants to make it.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing, sir. So with around 2 years of making Sholay? Around 2 years?
Just under 2 years.
Under 2 years. Amazing. So your last film, which I love watching, and I could see it as many times, Shimla Mirch.
Ji.
How have you seen the change in technology, the change in skill, the change in the organized format of the Indian cinema over the years from that time to this time?
The main thing is the budgeting has changed in the sense that you're spending the same kind of money, but you're doing it in a much shorter period of time. Compared to the 500 days of shooting for Sholay, I finished the film in under 50 days, 45, 47 days of actual filming. Of course, there was no real action and no horses and no... but still, even to do the sequences wasn't easy. But we did shoot and complete it in under 50 days. So compared to 500 days, that was nothing. But the difference between then and now is simply that the costs have gone up multiple times. Of course, a rate of inflation every year increases. You have to keep that in account. But the corporates and all that have come in and want to do a very streamlined business, they want everything in advance, the budgets and all. You can't think on the set and decide to take 23 days to shoot a film. That is no longer allowed. That's the reason why you have to plan your shoots, and even these kind of thoughts of whether you do it in the wind or you think it in advance. You sit amongst your technicians and writers and everyone, say, what is the best way to go about this? You come to those conclusions and then try to see that the same thing can be done in a much shorter period of time. And of course, today's special effects has acquired a whole new dimension, and therefore you can even create that atmosphere after after you've shot it. And I think every era of movie making is beautiful. It's gone through its phases. You take the best of the time and do what you can. What was available to me in 1973 to make Sholay, I have a lot more available today from technology's point of view. Today you even have AI, artificial intelligence to help you. But you can ask questions, you can get your answers. You still got to use your mind to break it down, to decide, is this better for me or that? Is this the right way to go about it or that? You prejudge a lot of things, and there's a lot of technology to help you do that, and your people and your crew, of course. So I think at any point in time, we'll always feel, oh, those were the days. Yes, they were the days. But these days are also very lovely, very wonderful for young people growing up today, wanting to make films. You have a lot at your command, at your you can take advantage of a lot of things, including technology, which helps you to arrive at decisions quicker. So I feel absolutely that today we have an education institution also, as you're aware, Ramesh Sippy Academy of Cinema and Entertainment, where we're teaching them how to make films, giving them our side of it, how to, and then it has to be their young minds, their thinking, how they can take that forward and make a film. So, MESC के यहाँ भी है, the skill development, वहाँ भी कोशिश की जाती है कि जो आदमी काम कर रहा है उसको भी एक मौका मिले कि थोड़ा सा टाइम देकर मैं कुछ सीख लूँ और समझ लूँ, and that particular skill he can develop and take it to a little different level. So I think what's happening all around today is happening for the general good of people, and it should be helpful. And you got to make your choice which way you want to go.
Amazing, amazing. So from Filmfare to Padma Shri to being the chairperson, the mentor for institutions like NFDC, MESC, and so many other eminent bodies, I would like to understand from you what would be your say to the present industry in terms of supporting and building a skilling ecosystem, and you know, what kind of contribution would you like them to put across in building this training ecosystem much more organized, much more sustainable?
I mean, it is an ever-developing kind of science, and the courses that go to help students learn about cinema must change according to the times. It is inevitable. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going backward or forward. You're, whatever is available to you, as I said, is available to you, and you make the best of what you have with you. People have made films in the most difficult of times. I think yesterday I saw a film, a lovely film, a silent film, 105 years old. It had been restored and rejuvenated. What I saw, I could not believe that this is a film 105 years old. A silent film. And then the imagination of the people who have organized it, they arranged a live orchestra. So that gave it a kind of atmosphere which added to what was being presented on screen and according to the mood of what was happening on screen. So although the maker did not intend that orchestra to be playing, but by adding that, the value of that film went up. And I think it was a very, very lovely film.
Surely, sir, surely it must be. And I'm sure, the way it was must have been created would have been, really mesmerizing for us. But I go back to my memories and remember one silent scene from the movie Shakti.
Okay,
Rakhiji's silent crying scene.
that's right.
How did that effect came in? How were you able to create that magic around the silence of a scene and still people, really remembering it today?
It's strange. It was not planned, but suddenly on the sets, I just felt that let's uh, let's plan this as a completely silent, because the occasion is death. We've seen it before. You can play music, you can have background, and people can be crying and Gare Lagna or all that. But if played silently, what would it be? And I went through all the possibilities, and I found that not having a word to say made me lead to the moment between father and son, which, when he comes, Amitabh enters and sees the body of his mother lying, his emotion when he sits next to her, and then he goes and sits next to the father. And then that's just that one touch between father and son conveyed much more than any lines could. Javed Saab agreed with me. He was writing all the scenes, and he also felt that that would be a beautiful way to convey that. So I think we went a lot then by instinct rather than just paperwork. So when you instinctively feel that this is one way we can go, then and you see all the possibilities in it, and you can pursue it, and you have. Luckily, by that time, I had already made 4 films and successfully. So when I was doing the 5th one, it did not take. I didn't need to convince anybody I wanted to do it this way, and they were with me whatever I wanted to do, which is a very big factor. Then you have the freedom. That does not mean. Compared to Sholay and all, Shakti was made in less than 100 days. Because it was a dramatic film. It had very little action, a little bit towards the end, and that final scene at the airport between father and son when Aminji's dying. So I think sometimes you should decide, is the emotion more important? Is the visual there? I had the sound of all the aircraft taking off and landing. And yet this emotion scene was taking place there. So I think concepts count a lot, where your writers are as important as your thinking. Your technicians are as important to give you the impact of what you are looking for. So it's, at the end of it all, I will say that it is teamwork. Teamwork always takes everything forward perfectly, but there should be one captain. That captain decides which way we go, and everybody follows. So I hope.
So friends, while we all must have seen Sholay, I don't know how many times, but I still remember this scene, and I would really request all of you to watch this movie Shakti again and see how silence in a specific scene can speak more than the words. So please go and watch it. While, we have learned so much from your session, sir, I would now take this opportunity and do a little shararat with you to ask you some tricky questions.
Okay,
Yeah?
fire.
So, out of all the movies you have created, the masterpieces which you have created, which is the one which is very close to your heart and which one you love the most?
Believe me, the one that I am making is always the most. Because at that time, my entire being is with that film. Everything about the film is the final thing. Not before, not after. I never sit down and think, what did I do in that film in order to have this, to get this effect? No. Oh, what I did in the other film, can that help here? I never think like that. I think for that moment, I think for that scene, I think, but I don't give up. If I don't feel satisfied, I go for another take. And Mr. Bachchan, I remember once, said to me, no, he actually prompted from behind, while I said, a take was, I think we were doing Shan at that time, and I said, yes, okay. And him from behind, I heard his voice, very good, one more. So he knew I would ask for one more.
So, while I agree with you, sir, on your answer and in consent with you, but I still won't leave.
Please, go ahead.
Which is the best dialogue you always remember and which you would have loved to play it on your own?
Which I would love to do differently?
Yeah, which you would like to play, on your own, as an actor.
As an actor, of course, the silent scene.
Very smart answer. So you got saved. Yes. So you got saved with the two, sir. The last one. Silence. So the last one, sir. You have always been a kind of a leader, a mentor, and somebody whom everybody looks up to as the Ramesh Sippy ji. For you, who is the real idol? And, who inspires you the most?
I think moments inspire me. I can tell you of a moment when I was looking up from a fourth floor balcony and I could see it was a very windy day and there was an old lady down there, a rag picker. I could not believe the tenacity of that woman. She carried a huge bundle of, mostly rubbish, but waste paper. And every time she picked up 3, 5 would fly away. But she never gave up. She kept collecting the 5 that were lost and picking up another one that was still to be picked up and put it on her head. And again, the wind would take away some. I sat there mesmerized for 45, 50 minutes, just looking at this woman, not giving up. And it's just that she was so determined. She didn't want to leave anything. She didn't want to lose anything. It was her duty. She had to pick up all the rags and all the papers and all the pieces and collect them again. I absolutely was mesmerized by that. I can't believe this old lady. She must have been 50, 60 years old. And she doesn't give up. Maybe somewhere there was my lesson. Don't stop until you're absolutely right to the last.
Heads off to you, sir. A big round of applause. So friends, we have today Mr. Ramesh Sippy with us, and filmmaker, storyteller, creative artist, and somebody who just mesmerized us with his own wisdom and his words. I open the stage to you now to present your questions.
Please.
We'll go one by one. We'll go one by one. The gentleman there. Can we have the mic for him, please?
सुरेश शर्मा, टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया।
Hello.
हम सब लोगों को इंतज़ार है कि शोले 2 आप कब बनाएंगे?
कभी नहीं। नहीं तो शोले कैसे याद रखेंगे?
नहीं तो शोले 2 ही तो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होगा, आप हैं।
नहीं, फिर मेरे बाद कोई और बना ले तो अलग बात है, लेकिन मैं तो नहीं बनाऊंगा।
ओके।
Yeah, here. I'll come to you. I'll just go this way. Yeah. Over here in the front. The gentleman with the cap. I'll come to you, sir. I'll come to you.
Ramesh ji, my name is Siraj Sayyed, and I've had the honor of teaching at your academy as well.
Okay.
40 years ago, I started a course for people interested in audiovisual media, and down the line, I've taught for the last 40 years.
जी.
And hundreds of students have turned out from that, those teachings. Now, with the advent of multi-functional audio video phones, in the last decade or so, a lot of people have thought that they can become like Kishore Kumar or I.S. Johar, where they can write the script, write the screenplay, write the dialogue, write the camera movements, edit it itself, and think of it as a complete product. Although their education might not have been completely rounded to this extent, which leads to a question that is it right for everyone who possesses a iPhone 15 or 16 or whatever to make a feature film? My contention is that you need to round off all your basics first. And in a film, what we finally see is the screenplay and the acting. In any review, unfortunately, the big credit line of 1,000 people who might have been involved in the film comes later and is not so audible, not so visible, not so seen. So do you think this is a healthy trend, or do you think that these people need to do a lot more homework before they embark on this?
I think we live in a world different each time, every generation, every 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, a lot of changes and technology come in. I say all the questions you may ask today, AI has a lot of answers. So does it mean that you have to learn everything? No, you learn basics in everything, and you ask some more questions which may not have been answered in all these, all the learning. And even AI is able to give you certain answers. And again, AI also, you have to be extremely careful. It can be misused and misconvey things to you because AI is meant to help you. And it will help you as you interact with it, give it your problems, it will give you some answers. But it's not the end of it. Then you have to apply your mind, is this correct? And is this helpful to me in particular in this situation? And you ask another 2 questions, you might find 2 more useful answers coming out. And yet you're going to use your mind finally to do what you want to do. So all the learning is very good and very necessary as a basic training. But as they say, I started on the sets. My learning was not official. There was no school at the time I started. After I started, the film schools started coming up, FTI and all that. But that does not mean that films were not made before that, and that did not mean that I would not learn. So I went on the sets myself. I visited my father's set. Luckily, he was in the line. That's why my interest, and I went there. and amongst all the wires and all the cameras and all the cables hanging and everything, it was dangerous to walk in the studios in those days. Everything was so much of live wire. But yes, walking there and looking at everything firsthand was a very big help. Uh, a light man on some rafter up there in the sky, in the studio, the lights there, the dangers of being there, falling from there, all those things were happening then. Today there are a lot more safety measures for everything, but in those days it was like that. But it would fascinate me how people worked. How could all this be happening? And as I went more and more on the sets and saw things, I was able to absorb firsthand what it was like. And therefore, I think it's important to have both. The education is equally important, but applying it correctly and not stopping there, carrying on and using it in practice. The practical side of education is equally important. I think in all schools, colleges, the practical side is now introduced also. They give you a camera and a thing or you can use your phone. Yes, there's no harm in using the phone to begin with, just to get a sense of the picture and sound. But in real terms, whether that's enough for a proper film, that you have to decide for yourself. That unfortunately, even I can't tell you for sure that is good. But there have been films made on this, I'm told, which have been recognized and been awarded for the work done because it's just on a telephone. So let's always accept technology with all its wonderful innovations and make it help you. Ultimately, it will always be upon you. How you accept that technology, how you use it in your work, that's how it will always be. That's my feeling. No matter how far technology progresses, your individual evaluation of what you have taken in and what you put out to the world will be always be important.
Hello, sir. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, we'll come here. We'll come here. I'll come to you.
Sir, why some good films of the directors fail? Is it because of the sensibilities of the audiences at that point of time when the films are released?
I don't think that is correct. Yes, when times change, maybe there have been too many of those kind of films. There are so many reasons why a film doesn't work and so many reasons why a film works. And both sometimes amaze you. How come it worked in that film and it didn't work in this film? But sometimes if you see too many of the same kind of film, yes, it will, यार ये तो देख लिया, अब क्या करना है? ये तो उसमें भी था, ऐसा भी था, इसमें नई चीज़ क्या है? They do look for something fresh or a fresh way of presenting it or a fresh set of actors coming in and giving a whole new feel to it, a director giving a different perspective to it. It will always matter. It will always matter. I don't think we should worry too much. We should keep going and encourage people to keep going, make their own assessments.
Hello, sir. Hello. Why, sir?
I think he already has a mic.
Yeah.
We also have already a mic.
Yeah. So
Please go ahead. After him, please.
Do I? Yeah. Okay. Hello, sir. My name is Sandeep Kumar. I'm a filmmaker from Vienna, Austria. I think we met shortly on the ship
yes,
yesterday.
yes.
So I have a film over here. So I grew up. I live in.
You'll forgive me, the lights are against me.
No worries. I grew up in Delhi watching your films, and after that in Europe, I learned from filmmakers like Michael Haneke, who happened to be my professor. And a lot of things which I had learned watching your films had to be unlearned, which I couldn't manage because it's such a completely different way of filmmaking, which is equally strong. And I had to balance between the Indian films like yours and, of course, masterpieces of Michael Haneke and what I learned from there. So this is my 8th film. So my question to you was that all the films which I had made till now, I have written them. And that's like the system I learned from Europe. And now the scripts, if I get a script from outside, I just can't make a film which is written by someone else. So how did you or people like masters like you who created such magical films like Sholay and Sagar, which are so different, how could you, bring those kind of scripts which you were getting and direct them, which, you were, I don't know if you were a part of the writing process, but if you get the script after it is written, how do you possibly create that magic? Because it seems like quite impossible for me to do.
Luckily for me, yes, I worked with fine writers like Salim Javed, but we worked together. It was not in isolation. It was not like a script was brought to me, written by Salim Javed, and I made the film. No. It was something that we worked together on. We, from the beginning to the end, we discussed it. We thought of different things or different ways it could go as a script. And then, even when the writing process was complete, we tried to stick by it because that you have to follow something when you start shooting. But on the sets also, if changes were made, it was perfectly okay to do that as long as it went with the moment and the mood. So I don't think there should be very restricted way of thinking if the budgets and the corporates allow you. Mind you, today the corporates are very important in business. So if they give you the budget and the freedom to do it your way, there's nothing like it. For a creative maker, that's ideal. But then you can't have 1,000 people like that, and it's not all of them are going to be making the same kind of film in the same way. So for the general rules, it has to be that there have to be budgets, there have to be time constraints, there have to be... So those are the general things. But in particular, if you have the freedom, even today, there are people, I think Sanjay Leela Bhansali takes his own time doing whether it's a serial or a film. I mean, he makes it his way.
Was Javed Saab also with you partly on the set?
Yes,
Sholay?
sometimes he was there and sometimes he wasn't, but he was very much there in that sense, that the dialogues were written, they were there, they've were as much part of the writing. But when I went, as I said, visually, seeing the lamp lighting and seeing the arrangements there, if I made changes, I didn't have to consult him.
Obviously, yeah.
So answer to that question has been given royalty free, huh?
Sir, good afternoon.
Okay, there please.
Sir, good afternoon. I am a cine enthusiast, sir, unlike the technicians or
But
other.
the gentleman there...
Sir, I'm raising my hand since 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. Cine enthusiast, sir. And I am not a technician or know the nitty-gritties of filmmaking. But I belong to a vast majority, sir, who loved your movies. आपकी अंदाज ने सर हमको हंसना सिखाया, आपकी शोले ने हमको डराया और आपकी शक्ति ने हमको रुलाया सर.
Thank you.
तो मैं सर सिर्फ आपसे ये पूछना चाहता हूँ कि आज का जो टॉपिक है तो उससे एक महत्वपूर्ण क्वेश्चन है कि आपने ज़िंदगी में जो सक्सेस देखी है, मुझे नहीं लगता कि यहाँ कोई भी ऑडियंस में ऐसा है जिसने इतनी सक्सेस देखी है. फेलियर भी थोड़ी बहुत अगर आपने ज़िंदगी में देखी है तो आपकी फिलॉसफी क्या है सर? सक्सेस अगर हमें मिले तो क्या करना चाहिए और अगर फेलियर हो तो क्या करना चाहिए? प्लीज़. थैंक यू सर.
Okay. Very thoughtful question. I do need to think for the answer. You made me think.
So you got stuck somewhere.
Which is healthy. And yes, it's not easy. And it should not be easy. If we are going to learn by our mistakes, that is absolutely fine. You can make a mistake, and it's healthy to make a mistake, because you learn from those mistakes also. That, oh, I shouldn't have done this. But that does not mean you go back and shoot an entire scene because of that. If there's any way of correcting it by a small thing, it's fine. Otherwise, you learn for the future. You are better placed. This experience will help you to improve your work in the future. Everything can't be done at one time. So if that's what experience means in any case. Each experience teaches you so that the future you can work in a slightly different way and not leave out what you left out the last time. You think like that, you give it all your attention and mind, and then go for it. So I think it's fine.
Good afternoon, sir.
So,
Good afternoon. I've seen Sholay when I was very young. I didn't even understand one word, but I loved it. Yeah. And my question
You're not very old?
Not very old. I'm 63.
Then,
63.
A young 63. Good.
Actually, definitely everybody, very good director influenced by other directors. But people say, or I've read it, that you are influenced by Clint Eastwood and Once Upon a Time in the West and Secret of Santa Victoria. Shall we hear about it in your own mouth, whether it is true or not?
Very true. Very true. Is there any harm in listening and seeing things which you like and trying to, if they inspire you to do things, it's absolutely fine.
So we'll go on the question at the back, the lady there at the back, and then we'll come to you here, okay? Last question from you.
So, hello, sir.
Yes.
My name is Tabarima. I'm from Istan, from Arunachal Pradesh.
Karnataka.
No, Arunachal Pradesh.
Arunachal Pradesh.
Yeah.
Please, go ahead.
So, sir, आपको ऐसे person में देखे, I'm glad, आपको ऐसे सामने देखे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. So, it's not thoughtful question, but it's very, it might sound funny for you. So, I'm a movie buff. I'm a trained actor actually. अभी मैंने FTI से course किया, कुछ 20 बैच से हूँ. और उससे पहले से मैं बचपन से फिल्में देख रही हूँ. तारकोफ्स्की से लेके रोहित शेट्टी तक, मतलब सब वर्ल्ड सिनेमा से लेके इंडियन सिनेमा सब कुछ मैं देखती हूँ. So I came across this film called Zero Sole.
Sorry?
Zero. अरुणाचल में एक जगह है Zero. और वहाँ पे आपातानी ट्राइब्स रहते हैं. तो आपकी जो फिल्म है शोले वो हम देख के बड़े हुए हैं. और बट उस फिल्म में वो आपका ही वो है सब कुछ है, लेकिन विजुअल्स जीरो के जो आपातानी ट्राइब में अपना विजुअल्स लगाया, मतलब वही डायलॉग वही है, बस वो कर रहे हैं, मुंह हिला रहे. और बसंती वहाँ गोरे में नहीं आते, वहाँ बसंती स्कूटी में, मतलब स्कूटर में जाके गिरते हैं. सो सर, आर यू अवेयर ऑफ दैट फिल्म कॉल्ड जीरो सोले?
Zero Sole?
Yes, sir.
No, I have not heard about it, but I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, it was interesting, sir. वो आपातानी ट्राइब ने बनाया, वो आपका ही फिल्म है, लेकिन उसको बस विजुअल्स को चेंज किया है. वो अरुणाचल में बैकग्राउंड है, आपातानी ट्राइब्स के अटायर में बसंती स्कूटी में जा रहे हैं. इट्स वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. एंड सर, अगर आप फ्यूचर में अगर फिल्में बनाएंगे तो क्या आप कभी नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न कैरेक्टर्स को नॉर्मल इंडियन जैसे कभी कास्ट करोगे या लिखोगे?
I am always open. I think अगर कुछ ऐसा मौका मिला तो हम ज़रूर सोचेंगे और ज़रूर.
Because ऑनेस्टली हमें आज तक मतलब गरीबों का चाइनीज, जापानीज, कोरियन के अलावा हमें नॉर्मल इंडियन कभी प्ले करने का मौका ही नहीं मिलते. सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम आस्किंग दिस क्वेश्चन. थैंक यू सो मच सर.
Okay.
We'll go last.
हेलो, मेरे पास माइक है.
Please excuse me, sir. You asked me to ask a question.
Okay, I'm sorry, I could not see you there. Please go ahead.
Okay. My daughter, first of all, I would like to congratulate and wish Ramesh Sippy. We meet every year, and it's a pleasure listening to you. And I am not a movie buff, but Sholay has inspired when we were small. And if at all I would repeat a movie, it would be Sholay. My daughter.
Thank you.
My daughter is studying at University of California, Berkeley, second year now, film and media.
Okay.
And there, they don't give you classes because you say you are interested. They will ask you what work you have done in similar field. So every winter and summer she comes from holidays. Is it possible to do any internship with you? Of course, free. Because that increases her profile to get classes over there. Nothing
For the
else.
sake of diplomacy, I will not answer that question.
Oh.
See, nothing is for free
Hello.
in this
Guys,
world.
please, I'm missing my target of the timeline. I don't want
अरे
to
ओ
miss target.
सांबा
You will
कितने आदमी
finish
थे?
it.
No,
Please,
as
please.
a
सर ये
student,
डायलॉग
I'm
आपने जब
talking, as
लिखा
a
था,
student.
शूटिंग किया था, तो आपको लगा था कि 2024 में ये डायलॉग अरे ओ सांबा कितने आदमी थे, ये पॉपुलर रहेगा, पॉपुलर होगा?
जितना पॉपुलर हुआ वैसे नहीं सोचा था.
Yeah,
अच्छा लगा
over
था
here. Last
डायलॉग,
question.
हेलो सर.
लेकिन इतना पॉपुलर होगा कि लोग भूलेंगे नहीं और 50 साल बाद भी वही बात होगी.
कायम तक रहेगी सर.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू.
हेलो सर. नमस्कार सर. सिप्पी साहब. हेलो सर.
हाँ जी.
सिप्पी साहब, जो आपने दिलीप साहब और अब बच्चन साहब को एकजा किया, दोनों को एक फिल्म में लाया शक्ति में,
भी
इस बारे में जरा आप कुछ बताएंगे. उनको कैसे एकजा होना पड़ा, आपकी आइडिया दिमाग में कैसे आ गया, और उनका एक्सपीरियंस बताइए आप उनको.
एक
Please give him the mic now, please. Over there.
एक फादर सन की कहानी थी और एक फिल्म बनी थी साउथ में जिससे हम इंस्पायर हुए थे, और उस पे सलीम जावेद साहब ने स्क्रिप्ट लिखी. हमने मिलकर डिस्कस की पूरी और सोचा कि आइडल कास्टिंग तो होगी. मेरे दिल में हमेशा था कि एक फिल्म दिलीप कुमार साहब के साथ ज़रूर बनानी चाहिए. बच्चन साहब के लिए रोल इतना बड़ा नहीं था और हमने सोचा शायद वो ना करें, और हमने सोचा भी था, टू बी ऑनेस्ट, आज मैं कह देता हूँ, राज बब्बर जी के लिए सोचा था कि हाँ ये नया लड़का है, आ रहा है, शायद इसको ले लें हम. लेकिन जब बच्चन जी से बात हुई, अमिताभ जी से, तो उन्होंने कहा कि मैं कर लूँगा. तो हम बहुत खुश हुए कि अगर वो कर लेंगे तो नथिंग लाइक इट, क्योंकि दिलीप कुमार और अमिताभ बच्चन हो, इससे ज़्यादा और क्या चाहिए आदमी को. तो ऐसा हुआ. An opportunity where, as you realize that there used to be 10, 12 songs in every film. Then it came down to, I think, Sholay had 5 songs, if I'm not mistaken. So the number of songs, the film was 3 hours and 20 minutes, but there were only 5 songs. So you have to make that choice. You have to make that decision, and that you should be able to decide that here we need a song and here we don't. It's a very difficult decision. Music has its value. If it's a popular song, people come again and again for the music sometimes. But going well with the film, as a blend, it should be blended with the film. That is extremely important.
So with your permission, can we have somebody on the stage? He has raised his hand from the time we started asking questions, and he raised it
Please.
consistently. Come on the stage and ask the question. Come.
Aye.
Hello, sir. My name is Ashish, and I'm from FTI.
From FTI?
FTI AP, the one which is starting this year. And I'm an acting student. So I have doubt. I'm not a doubt. It is. I want your opinion on how the acting style has evolved right from the beginning of Indian cinema till today, and what are the factors or reasons which shape or make up those acting styles at that or at any point.
Not an easy answer, but I'll try to answer you as best I can. Because acting also is part of the society you come from, where you are. The films before had people who were acting in a particular way. In the 1920s and 30s and 40s, acting had a very loud kind of a, at that time, the sound wasn't there, it was silent, and people more with expressions. And then Sohrab Modi and these people came with dialogues and beautiful way of saying things that people loved that also. Today we have reached a stage where they should be as natural as possible, and yet, by being natural, what are you doing about the effect? Are you getting the same impact from your performance and conveying to the audience the same emotion? But today's youngsters react differently also. They don't react in the same way that 50 years back the youngsters did. So today, what you will get and what you see on the screen is exactly what today's youngsters feel. Directors, they try to understand today's audiences and try to make films for them. And yet, inside that director is also a person who wants to make something he believes in. So this combination of wanting to give people what they want and for you as a director to come out with something that you believe in, that combination is important. And therefore, as an actor, I can only say, do your best and be guided by people around you who, like if you're working with a director, he will give you a very good guidance as to what he wants. And then you interpret it with your expressions. And between you, you'll have to form that bond. That's the way I did it with my actors.
So friends, thank you. And before we wrap up the session, I would request all of you to please stand up and give a big round of applause to Shri Ramesh Sippy ji, and as louder as we can.
We would like to thank Mr. Mohit Sonia, moderator, and the legend Mr. Ramesh Sippy for giving us your valuable time and this insightful conversation. And now, before we close, it is my absolute honor to call upon the exceptional mastermind and the head of Masterclasses, National Film Development Corporation, Ms. Gauri Nair, our leader, to deliver the vote of thanks.
My content head Ravish has given me a big letter of speech to speak. I could not handle one sentence also. His content is so heavy that you guys have been hearing it for all these days. So I'm just here realizing the fact that I'm heading the Department of Masterclasses for National Film Development Corporation, and also realizing the fact that it's a great responsibility that it is entrusted upon me, and keeping this legend on the stage, closing the entire sessions of Masterclasses, 32, 33 sessions, and closing with him. I think that's the greatest achievement that we got. And I hereby announce the successful completion of Masterclasses for the 55th FE 2024. And I thank first all my entire audience, that each and every day, each and every session, that whoever were present here, and also the entire team behind. First, my ESG, starting from Sankesh. Without them, not even a single session was possible. The entire Kala Academy team, and the entire media, the police force, bouncers, volunteers, and entire ministry, all our guiding lights, artistic director, festival director, MD NFTC, GM NFTC, and secretary INBJS Films, director films, and the entire ministry, and the entire NFTC staff, and my little team of 11 people, just humble down, and just one word to tell that honored. Thank you so much. And NFTC and Department of Masterclasses promises that we come back again next year with more curated content, more power to celebrations, more power to festivals, more power to content, and yes, more power to cinema. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.